not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento, an activist street fighter with earned degrees in law enforcement, theology, and philosophy. Listen and watch every weekday at 2 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and TrentoVision.com. Now, let's take a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. 2 o'clock here in Boca Raton, Florida. And if what I just heard is true, you know, we have our team in here right now in the studio, and you'll meet a couple of the folks in a little bit. And we've been doing some preparation. I don't think we've stopped preparing for the past 4 days regarding what's going on in the Middle East. But if what I just heard is true, then this president needs to be removed from office as quickly as possible, and 51 days from today is not a second too soon. If, that's a conditional preposition, because it may not be true, but we're checking it out. But if it is true, then this president cannot be referred to as a commander-in-chief. If you put Marines, individuals that volunteered to dedicate their life, take a sworn oath, dedicate their life defending the Constitution from all enemies, foreign or domestic or within, and they get deployed to dangerous areas, and they have to be in areas where there's dangerous people who want to kill them. And if it's true that those Marines at that Egyptian embassy were not allowed to carry weapons that were armed, if it's true that the Marines, by the order of the administration, that's where the buck stops, you want to take the credit for killing Osama bin Laden? Well, you got to take the credit, if it's true, for not equipping Marines with weapons that have bullets in them to defend sovereign territory of the United States in a foreign country and protect men and women who have dedicated their lives, whether it's from Foggy Bottom in the State Department, or whether it's as a private contractor, or whether it's an NGO, whatever the case may be. And that embassy in that country, Egypt, that's our property, and our Marines are supposed to be there with bullets that we build and can use to defend. If it's true that this administration gave an order, no loaded weapons, then what are you going to do, folks? When are people going to realize that a commander-in-chief is someone who has to take the threat seriously and not live on the romance of an unmanned aerial device flying around and somebody in Phoenix or in Albuquerque or in Tampa pushing a button, firing a Hellfire missile, killing a couple of jihadis as the exemplary proof or evidence of you being a commander-in-chief in this country in this dangerous age? Oh my God, what a mess. Yesterday we tried to lay out for our listeners and viewers here at WNN 1470 in Boca Raton, Florida. As you know, folks, we're broadcasting on the radio, on the AM dial of the radio. If you're anywhere from Miami all the way up to Fort Pierce, that's about 125 miles. A beautiful Florida coastline. It's about 5 million people within the sound of my voice. I think all of them are listening, actually, right now. But not only that, we bring you moving pictures, not just talkies, but we got moving pictures here. You can go to TrentoVision.tv. TV is sort of a reminder that you're looking at TV on your computer, and you can watch us, and you can call in. The number is 888-565-1470. Not there any longer. We had somebody who called in earlier by the name of Frank. If you want to call back, Frank, we're ready for you now. We'll take a couple of calls today.
So we're commercial Or commercial free.
Yeah, that's Mark Campbell, our director over there. We are commercial free. Let's do a little housekeeping here, folks. We're in the beautiful studios of WNN in Boca. Boca's a beautiful place. But the message today is not that pretty by any means. And we deal with reality. The lead-in says where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. In fact, it will. And as you know, Tom Trento and our team works primarily on national security issues. And that's our concern. And we've been saying for the past couple of years, this election is not going to be decided upon the economy. Because basically the country split pretty evenly on two ways of solving the economy. One group of people want to pursue capitalism, and one group want to pursue socialism. Okay, we got a pretty good split on that. Sadly, that's the truth. So what's going to be the margins? The margins are going to be the national security issues and which leader, Mitt Romney or Barack Hussein Obama. I use Hussein because recently, guys, President Obama spoke in Dearborn, Michigan, in the Muslim town of Dearborn, Michigan, and he introduced himself as Barack Hussein Obama to a Muslim crowd, but he doesn't introduce himself that way to a non-Muslim crowd. Interesting. In any event, we're here in Boca Raton, and we have some interesting items. Mark, you said something or other about commercial free?
Yes, we are 100% commercial free from now to all the way to November 6th.
Even past that, actually. No commercials. We have arranged with our folks to come to you with no breaks. We got one solid hour here. We're just bringing information for you. So that's good news. And to start the show, I'll bring in a caller right now. Frank. Hi, Frank. You're on Trento Vision with Tom Trento and our team. Where are you calling from today?
We're calling from Bricktown, New Jersey.
Oh, I know who you are. Of course I do. Yeah. What's up, man? How are you?
I was just doing. I saw you in your program, and I was very, very interested in what you had to say. And Tom, you're right on the money. Right on the money.
If I remember correctly, Frank, if I remember correctly, you took that oath and you served this country, right?
Yes, I did. And my son, he took the same oath and he got out of the Marines. And in fact, he was over in Iraq. And we were just watching TV yesterday, and we could not believe what we saw. It was almost like a Tom Clancy novel unfolding in front of our eyes.
I'm sorry, what did you say? I missed that.
It was almost like a Tom Clancy novel with all the stuff going on with the embassy.
Oh, it's amazing. Well, let me ask you this, Frank. Mark just asked this question. You were in the Army, I believe, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and your son is in the Marines. Were you ever stationed anywhere and had a weapon that you weren't allowed to have bullets in your weapon?
I had... in Golf 1, there was a situation that occurred that they asked us to go to a Condition 2 where we didn't put the clips in the weapons.
Yeah, and what would be the circumstances for that?
Dignitaries, and there was probably unsafe conditions occurring within the troops because of the lack of training.
What about at an embassy, where the Marines are in an embassy? Is it standard practice to not have clips, not have ammunition ready to defend yourselves?
It depends. Now, this is interesting because my son was saying the same thing. It depends on what condition level they're required from day to day.
How about condition level Muslim Brotherhood running the country? How about that condition?
Listen, it has to do. The Marines will follow the orders specifically, unless I know they have a protection where if they're accosted or they're actually coming over the wire, or in an area which is totally restricted, they're allowed to try to protect themselves and the lives of the ambassador. But as far as what I know about that, it's up to the local command inside the building to make that decision.
Well, we're gonna get to the bottom of that for sure, because when you have a revolution in a country, and when the Israeli embassy gets overthrown, these are kind of like what law enforcement calls clues, right? You know, like you got bad people out there.
Yes, they are clues.
When you got people calling for the death of America on a regular basis, you know, I mean, any wise American has their home with a security system and all of that. So just common sense. Well, Frank, I won't keep you too long, but just a couple of thoughts. What do you think about the situation of the Middle East exploding, the Arab Spring, and this president as commander-in-chief?
Well, I think the commander-in-chief has very strong ties to Islam since he was a boy, and I think that's skewing his understanding of the situation. Actually, I think he's skewed in that direction to try to be more of an appeasement instead of standing up for the United States of America, since he's really somewhat of a socialist or communist in the office.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother. I appreciate your words with us today, and keep listening and watching, Frank. And next time I'm in New Jersey, we'll sit down and have a beer. How about that? Or I mean, a glass of juice or whatever. Take care. We'll see you. We'll take one more call, and then I want to introduce my robust team here as we go through this. Mike from Boca, you are on with Tom Trento and the team.
Hey, Tom, thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Yeah, I was just thinking, not only is he part Muslim, but I think part of the African-American in him looks at the white America, and they want some payback for slavery. I know it's a stretch, but it seems like him and his wife, because she has no connection to Muslims. Her parents were Christian or whatever they were. So she brings to the table that anti-white because of slavery thought, and then he brings everything, I'm Muslim, so we have to hate the Israelis. I mean, I don't know.
I'm a Muslim, we have to hate the Israelis. Yeah, well, sadly, that's the way it is.
So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. This is his ideal America. Him and his wife are sitting in the White House. A bunch of bombs are coming over the border to hit us. He gets on the loudspeaker across the country and says, "There you go. That's for slavery. Deal with it."
Yeah,
I know it's a stretch.
But it's not that much of a stretch in a historic sense, and we'll take a minute to develop. Alan, you have any thoughts on his background, the president's background? And
well, there's more to it than that.
to his background, as we have extensively, he is a white mother, Kenyan father, African father. Father was a Muslim, so by technically the president is a Muslim. From the Muslim point of view, they view him as a Muslim. He has converted by his choice to Christianity, according to him. I'm a Christian. I don't recognize his brand of Christianity, and Muslims want him to, the technical term is, revert back to Islam. That's their desire for him. They see him as, I don't know, they see him a whole bunch of different ways. We'll do some shows on that. But not only was there that influence, as Alan Bergstein, my debate partner from last night, we're going to get into the debate in a second, but he has the influence of Frank Marshall Davis, who was a black activist, a communist, and on and on and on. And when he was 70 years old, he took young Barack Barry, at that point, under his sex-perverted wing, believe it or not, to try to have him establish a black identity. And when he sent him off to Occidental College in 1981, he told him, Barry, you be black. You go to L.A., you be black. You are black. So your point is well taken. There's confusion there. And we got a world in flames. We don't need a president that needs, psychological counseling for the next 10 years. We need somebody who's got their head screwed on straight.
You take all that. Can I just mention one more thing?
Yeah, one more thing. We'll let you go, and then we got some goodies for you here.
You get all those stars aligned, and then the last truly influential person is Reverend Wright and Farrakhan in his life. When you take that upbringing, and then you said, okay, this guy's still got a chance. He's not an adult yet, or now he's an adult. Let's at least give him a great minister. No, he ends up with Reverend Wright Farrakhan as his next-door neighbor. So we don't have a chance in the next 4 years. If this guy gets another 4 years, we are done as a country.
CJ, your thought on that?
Well, I just have one quick observation. During the
Hey, Mike,
Thanks
thanks.
for taking my call. I love the show.
Yeah, glad to be here, and tell your friends about it. We got some great stuff. Next week, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Trento, WNN 1470 on the dial right now. It's about 1:15 or so, a little bit after that, after 2 o'clock here in Florida. 11 o'clock for our friends in California. We have a lot of friends in California. But next week, we are going to do a 5-part series on the Muslim Brotherhood. Why are we doing that? Because the Muslim Brotherhood is impacting every listener and every viewer's life in America and anywhere you travel now in the world. The Brotherhood is on the march. We're going to tell you who they are, what they're all about. We're going to dive into their life. We're going to tell you about Hillary Clinton's right-hand person, Uma Abedin, who is a Muslim Brotherhood operative. Oh, how could you say that? Well, we'll tell you, we'll show you, we'll present evidence for that. At least the evidence points in that direction, which may make sense with what Hillary said today at a State Department press conference. Hold that. We're going to play that later on for the folks.
I want to get to
I
it.
know,
I want
I
to
know.
get to it.
But what we have to do right now is talk a little bit about what happened last night, Alan Bergstein.
Oh, thanks, Tom. Last night, Tom and I debated two prominent Democrats, one a member of the DNC, another one a religious leader in the community, Rabbi Barry Silva, so he speaks with the authenticity and reliability of a rabbi. Two left-wing people against Tom and myself. And I came, at the end of the evening, I came across and I said to myself, these guys are talking nothing. They're talking
How do you talk
foolishness.
nothing,
Well,
okay? How do you do
all
that?
they have is mantra. They have this thin veneer of the Democrat talking points, and when you question them and ask them deep questions, thought questions, they cannot go beyond the mantra. And then they just absolutely go off the wall, scream, yell, complain.
Wait, let me ask you one question, Alan.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever see those Far Side cartoons? Remember Far Side?
Yeah.
The person would be speaking to the dog going, "Hi, Scotty, how are you? You having a good day today?" And the dog would hear, "Scotty, blah,
Blah, blah, blah, blah, blah,
Scotty, blah, blah, blah." Well, with the Democrats, and this was our third debate, ladies and gentlemen, you know, what you hear is blah, 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 abortion, blah, 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 Obamacare, blah, 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 abortion, blah, 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 Obamacare, blah, 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 no Israel, no Jerusalem, we don't want to talk about that. It's unbelievable.
Well, didn't Debbie Wasserman Schultz tell them last year, do not have Israel as an issue in this upcoming election? She knew what was going on.
Well, tell the viewers and listeners who Debbie Wasserman Schultz is, because some people may not know that lovely person.
Unfortunately, we have to say that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is a legislator from just south of us in Broward County. She is the chairperson of the Democrat National Committee, which means she is the most powerful Democrat voice in the country. Under Barack Obama, she is the spokesperson. What she says is not personal. What she says is directly out of the mouths of the Democrat Party, the platform. She came out last week with an abstract, total, complete lie, saying that the omission of Jerusalem being the capital of Israel, being omitted from
the platform, right, correct, at the DNC.
And that God was just an oversight. Those were her words, oversight. And when she was called to task for this, she lied. She also lied about Michael Oren, the Israel ambassador. She said that if Jews vote Republican, they're voting against Israel. She said those were the words of Michael Oren, the ambassador of the United States. Michael Oren was questioned, and he said, she's a liar. And when CNN confronted her, she said, well, I'm not a liar because
Well, that's what the Democrats do is that's what the Democrats do is they lie and then they double down on their lies and then they triple down on their lies.
You know what she is like? Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and you guys who don't know Florida politics, you got to look her up. But I'll give you a great picture, and you'll never forget this picture. Debbie Wasserman Schultz for the Democratic Party is what Baghdad Bob was to Saddam Hussein. Remember him? There are no tanks coming into Baghdad. They're rocking the whole building outside. We are killing the infidels, and they're climbing up on the walls, the American soldiers. They are not here. That's
Tokyo
Debbie
Rose.
Wasserman Schultz.
It's scary. She represents a sizable portion of the South Florida community, and she has been in office, and who knows, hopefully she'll be knocked out by Karen Harrington, but there's a good possibility that she'll be retained, and her voters don't give one damn about what she says. They're Democrats, and they will vote for a Democrat no matter who it is. That is scary.
CJ, guess what her job will be if President Obama is reelected?
Ambassador to Israel?
That would be funny. By the way, breaking news, the Israelis are storming the American embassy in Tel Aviv. They're climbing all over the walls. They're delivering falafel and what are those shawarma sandwiches to the Americans. How come the Israelis are not attacking the American embassy?
Because they're not primitive, they're not uncivilized, they're not savages, and they're not killers.
Well, I must say I also have an issue with the fact that the U.S. Embassy is in Tel Aviv and not in Jerusalem where it belongs anyway.
Well, no one knows what the capital of Jerusalem is anyway.
Back in February, we were on a unique IDF, a unique tour, the United West, a group of us, 10 of us, with the IDF, and we went to a restaurant one night. Remember that, Mark? Mike's. You know Mike's that got blown up? We went to Mike's, right? And we're there, and we see these young, strapping guys that they look American, right next door. Right next door! Like, there's where the parking lot is, and there's where the guys right there. And something was odd. It was a weird kind of brick cement building, didn't have too many windows, and had a little, they're carrying guns, and what's going on? The American Embassy in Tel Aviv is right next door to Mike's, famous Mike's Bar and Grill that got blown up. So you went over and talked to them, didn't you?
Yeah. And they had bullets in their gun.
They had bullets in their gun. Against those tough, because of the threats of Hasidic Jews running around or the jihadis. Okay, we were at the debate last night, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tom Trento. Our show is Trento Vision. We have CJ, our show producer here. Let's get a shot of CJ. And there they are. They're right there. And Alan Bergstein. Alan is, we are debate partners. 3 debates so far with Democrats on the left. 1 more a week from today. And the one from today, sponsored by the Ronald Reagan Club in Delray Beach, Florida.
A week from yesterday.
A week from yesterday, I'm sorry. The 19th at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, folks, I'm sorry, it's sold out. Sold out, 300 people there. There's no more room for people. So I don't know what they're going to do if
they're going to watch the live stream of the
live
debate.
stream, of course. Silly me. Yeah. You can watch it right here on TrentoVision.tv. Tell your friends about it.
And get yourself a bag of popcorn, chips, and soda, and just enjoy yourself.
And you can watch last night's debate, because it's right there. If you're watching the show, here, look, let me see.
Well, part of it.
Which direction is that part of it?
To the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, let's see if my hand goes that way. I'm watching myself on the monitor here. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Right there.
There's a little bit of a delay for me, not for you guys. But there's that guy, Jack Schiffrell, sitting there. Let me see if I can knock him in the head on the computer.
It wouldn't hurt him. You're not hitting a sensitive spot.
Well, no.
He had great lines. You had great lines last night.
I forgot them. They weren't written down.
Oh, man. But we got them on tape.
We'll have to pull them off the tape.
The Hofer Bush thing, that was a great line. Oh,
that was very good.
They were going off.
One of Alan's lines last night. And Alan, you're from New York.
Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn. There's a principal there. He's a veteran, served in the Korean War, all of that. So he's a street guy, not just an academic guy. He's a street guy. He can handle anybody, right? They challenged you going back to George Bush. George Bush did this, and he did that, and he did this.
He shook hands with the prince.
He shook hands with a prince.
Oh,
and
the Saudi prince.
Yeah, because
Right.
you had said Barack Obama bowed to the Saudi king. And they said, well, George Bush shook hands with a Saudi prince, arm in arm, walked on his ranch in Texas. And what was your response?
Didn't I say that, well, he didn't bow to him? Wasn't that my
Right.
response?
No, you forgot
I
your own
forgot
line.
already.
No, he did say, well, he didn't bow to him, but then there was another time where they tried to bring up George Bush again, and you said, I tell you what, I
yeah.
promise not to vote for him.
No, but he delivered the line perfectly. You said, okay, I'll make you a deal. On November 6th, I promise, I will not vote for George Bush.
It's about time. Give up George Bush. Bring up Teddy Roosevelt. Look what Teddy Roosevelt did. Now, who gives a damn? Look what Reagan did. Look what Nixon did. We are voting on November 6th for the salvation of this country and the world. And the two people who are opposing one another are Romney and Obama. And you have to choose between them. You're not choosing between them. You're not bringing in Bush. You're not bringing in Bill Clinton. You're not bringing in Eisenhower. You're not bringing in Truman, FDR. This is reality. It's either Romney or Obama. That's your choice.
And we made this point last night, ladies and gentlemen, which is very, very important. You hear, and for our Democrat friends out there and even our Democrat enemies out there, we want you to think this through. When there's an appeal to George Bush did the same thing with the implication, oh, therefore it's okay if Barack Obama does the same thing, missing a very serious historical fact. The conditions on the ground are completely different. In 2000, when George Bush took office, 2001, when we were attacked, we were an aggressive nation at war. The enemy was on the run. And we had a leader at that point that mobilized the world, many in the world, and at least the United States military and our great allies, Britain and others, to fight, Australia, Canada. George Bush did slip in his second term a bit, definitely. Now we have a very weak leader, and the situation, not just the existential situation, existential being what could happen in the future, but the immediate situation. Go put on any news source you want. Go look at any TV station. The Middle East is about to explode. And we predicted yesterday, and we'll predict today, ladies and gentlemen, that tomorrow, Juma prayer, each day is a different name for Islamic prayer. Juma is the big one, where they all come together. Here's what cracks me up about Islam. It's on their holiest prayer day that they go bananas and attack things and kill people. What is the relationship between our big prayer day and the religion of peace? Now let's go kill people.
That's what the religion calls for. The religion calls for the usurpation, getting rid of Christianity and Jewry, and this is what they're doing. They're rioting, but they're not rioting. They're obeying the command of Allah, which says, we will take over the world. We will rid this country of infidels. Those Christians who were killed were infidels. They don't belong. They're on Islamic land. Kill them, get rid of them.
It is their most holy calling to kill infidels.
How could you have, CJ, how could you have a religion that calls for the killing of other people? How's that work?
I have no idea. Although apparently our State Department has great respect for it and thinks it's a religion of peace.
Tell us what our State Department said this morning.
Okay. Well, it was quite an extensive statement.
The salient,
The thing that really, really got me,
the sucky parts,
is that our Secretary of State, representing our President, representing the United States, gave a half-hour press conference and said, quote, "To me personally, this video is disgusting and reprehensible. It appears to have a deep purpose to denigrate a great religion and to provoke rage." So, 2 days after the attacks on our embassies and our people, the State Department is still defending the rioting, attacking mob in the Middle East that is attacking American interests and is ashamed of the fact that we have free speech in the United States and that
This
Some
video.
folks who made a video are responsible somehow for attacks against American interests in the Middle East, and she is not backing down from this. This is the most weak, disgusting, perverted position that this administration could take, and this is why the whole Middle East is blowing up, because the world knows that we're going to sit there and say, "Aw, shucks, we don't really mean it, and please don't hurt us."
Could I jump in a
Yeah,
moment?
yeah.
You're saying that these were the words of Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton,
Hillary. Now,
Secretary of
Wait,
State.
hang on one
I-
second. What video are we talking about?
Her whole press conference today.
Yeah, but you said the video for the listeners and the viewers to bring
Oh,
into.
we're still talking about
that
this
crazy Muslim
little
movie?
crazy Muslim movie, 13-minute YouTube clip that
Had 6,000
that
hits.
had 6,000 hits, and that
came out
nobody-
in July.
That came out in July. That nobody saw. That some folks in the Middle East decided to get together and use as an excuse to blow things up on September 11th, on
Okay.
9/11,
On September.
on
She
9/11,
didn't
a
say-
coordinated
But
attack.
She didn't say that they defamed the day of September 11th. She didn't say that. She just focused in on this ridiculous
She
movie, which has been
focused
around
in
for how
on-
long? How long has this movie been out?
Since July.
July 2nd.
But
Yeah.
and they decided two coordinated attacks on the same day, which happened to be 9/11. But let me jump in something else. When you mention that these are the words of Hillary Clinton, I dispute that. I maintain that those were not her words, but that those were the words of Huma Abedin, her top chief aide,
Exactly.
who happens to be a radical Muslim. She was herself a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. Her brother leads a Muslim Brotherhood in England. Her father founded the Muslim Brotherhood in Western Michigan University. And her mom, strangely enough, is the head of the women's group. You know,
Yeah, I was
they-
going to
Sisterhood.
say,
It's
is
called
there
the
a
Muslim-
Muslim
Yeah,
sisterhood?
it's called the Muslim
you know,
Sisterhood.
There
they
you
play
go.
mahjong.
But
they play
only-
They
mahjong.
don't play mahjong, do they?
Every Friday they play mahjong.
They
in the
raise
mosque.
money for suicide bombers. Is
The
that
only
what
way
they
you
do?
get to be in the sisterhood is to be a wife of an elite brother. So it's a very elite group, the sisterhood, and she is a member. Now, people may think we're crazy saying the Muslim sisterhood. No, there's a Muslim sisterhood. It's that simple. There's a Muslim brotherhood. And next week we're gonna go through this in detail. But your point is, the State Department had a presentation today that if we put 100 U.S. citizens out there and polled them and said, does this thing lean toward the sensibilities of Americans or the sensibilities of Muslims, what would the answer be?
Muslims.
Yeah, clearly.
Well, not even Muslim Americans, because Muslim Americans wouldn't support what she's saying either.
Yeah,
A lot of them.
We'll say Arab. We'll say jihadi
How
Muslims in
about-
the Middle
yeah.
East, of course. So now,
There is a
well, let
difference.
me ask you this: is it necessary state speak to calibrate down an explosive situation where you go, okay, man, we got to have her say this, otherwise these crazy people, Muslims Gone Wild, our title, they're going to blow things up. Have her go out there and throw them a bone. Is it something like that?
It's pure appeasement. It's pure appeasement.
But is it appeasement
It's
in-
sucking. It is sucking up to people who are threatening to kill you, and it is absolutely insanely stupid.
But is it spin for the moment to tamper down a fire, or is it
No.
is it a philosophy?
No. This is the philosophy of this administration,
Yeah,
and
I
has
agree.
been since the inception.
Well, do you remember, I hate to bring up his name, George W. Bush, when he threatened Libya, he threatened Gaddafi when he attacked Iraq. And what did Gaddafi do in response to the threats from George W. Bush?
I give up. I
He
give up. I give up.
dismantled his
did away with
nuclear
his-
program.
He did away with his nuclear program. If
Yeah.
it weren't for George W. Bush during the Arab Spring in Libya, there would be atomic weapons floating around all over the place.
Absolutely.
Give George W. Bush credit.
Yep. And think of it. You're a potentate. You're a crazy dictator and all of that, but you're living a pretty good life. I mean, he traveled with like these Amazon blonde women as masseuses or whatever the heck
Are
he
you
was
talking
doing.
about
Gaddafi.
Obama? Oh, I thought you were
Gaddafi.
talking about Obama.
And and you want to get a nuclear weapon because you want to be cool. You want to have a nice gun in your neighborhood. But you got oil-producing country, and things are pretty cool. And then you go, let's get that weapon. And somebody says, you do that, we're going to smash your whole little game going on there. And he goes, well, okay.
Well,
he's cost-benefit analysis. George Bush is cowboy enough to do this. You think any Middle Eastern dictator is afraid of Barack Obama?
Well, and
He's like a girl, Barack Obama. He is like an effeminate woman. He's like a woman.
I'm sorry, but I'm a girl.
Yes.
And I would shoot that guy down.
Well, you're a woman. But let me ask you this. Of the Middle East countries that he is being very, very quiet about, very pleasant about, what Middle East country gets his ire? What Middle East country receives his denunciations and his threats? One country in the Middle East.
Quiet Jew. Quiet Jew.
I'm sorry. That country is Israel.
Israel.
Israel is
Quiet,
the only country
Bibi.
he
Get
jumps
out of here,
on.
Bibi.
Yeah.
No, I want to talk about that in a second. But Tom Trento, WNN 1470, TrentoVision.tv if you want to watch. Anybody wants to call in, we'll take a call or two. 888-565-1470. 888-565-1470. You can jump in and talk to Alan, myself, or CJ, or even Mark floating around over there. And we are talking generally about the frightening situation in the Middle East, but we're talking specifically about our debate and how the topics of our debate dovetail beautifully with the topic today of Muslims gone wild in the Middle East and the necessity for the winning party on November 6th to have a consistent internal and external national security plan. What were your basic observations, CJ, about the debate last night?
You know, my main observation was from the Democrats' side, they talked about their feelings and how they had a heart and how they didn't need notes because they cared about things. And you guys had facts. You had a real argument to make, and they had an emotional outburst. And that is really the distinction, is there's the moral equivalency that is problematic for the Democrats. They care about feelings and they don't care about reasons or logic. Something hurts me, that's a problem. Something is threatening, that's your problem.
Well, they really don't care about feelings. Do you remember our
They
previous...
care about their own feelings.
No.
All right,
They're
let's
hypocritical.
let's listen to the senior member of our group here.
In weight? I'm senior weight.
No, I may have you on that.
You know,
You were a principal of a school, right?
in the South Bronx.
Yeah. Did you ever have a class
I'm
like this?
crossing myself.
My Jewish brother's doing the sign of the cross. Did you ever have a class like this?
No, every day was like being on Marine duty, but that's beside the point. But our previous debater, opponent, was a guy by the name of Mark Allen Siegel, who spoke, if you remember, in his debates passionately about how the Democrat Party cared for women and the Republican Party demeaned women and chastised women and treated them. He resigned last week because I got out to the press that while he was an assemblyman in New York State, he was a New York State assemblyman, which means for life, he was accused by a couple of his women aides of sexual harassment. And
Who, Mark Allen Siegel?
Mark Allen Siegel.
Our Mark Allen Siegel?
It was written up in the New York Times.
Wow.
In fact, I put out that link.
Wow.
So Mark Allen Siegel was told by the Democrat Party in New York State, resign your seat, and get out of New York State. He is down here now in Florida. As soon as he came down here, the Democrat Party, with his background, it's knowing, I mean, they knew all about him, made him the head of the Democrat Party in Palm Beach County. So they're hypocrites. They talk about one thing, and they do another. That's typical.
Well, one
defender
thing
of
they
women.
didn't talk about last night was national security or foreign policy or the true relationship between the United States and Israel. And what they did talk a lot about was abortion and no fossil fuels
And
their
global
utter
warming.
disgust.
Global warming, yes.
And
And
their
Mitt Romney
utter
has too much money.
disgust that there are actually people in this country who work hard and accumulate wealth, and they're deeply offended by that, and they think it should be taken away, and that none of us should have any.
And ladies and gentlemen who are watching or listening, we are not exaggerating. And in fact, we can prove this because, as we said before, on TrentoVision.tv, to the right, is it there, Mark? The debate is there in living color for you to watch on your own, and everybody can watch it. How about that? And listen for yourself. There was an interesting moment where one of us cross-examining Jack Schiffel, whatever. Arrogant guy, you know, but that's okay.
You could tell he's not used to being challenged.
No, he's not used to being challenged.
Yeah.
And I sensed that as soon as he came in, and I said, okay, Alan, we'll take this guy apart in pieces. You know, I don't think he's going to show back up. He took a beating.
Do you think he'll come?
I don't think he's going to come. We're debating the same team next week, next Wednesday, the 19th. I don't think Barry Silver will be there because.
Could you put out a call now?
You know, I don't even know what to say about him.
Don't say it. We want him back. We want an opponent. We can't talk to
Barry. We love Barry.
We love Barry.
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything bad. But you know he's a cheerful, sweet guy who breaks out into song and then says crazy things. I mean,
there you go.
I don't know what to.
God, if he doesn't show up, we'll have 2 empty chairs.
2 empty chairs.
Why don't you put out a plea now for any listener? Yeah. If you know of a Democrat, a Democrat bigwig, a person with authenticity, you know, who's elected the head of his condo or something like that, or a building commissar, to volunteer, call in, and be a participant in next week's debate.
Okay, I'll do it right now. Here we go.
And it's not even a setup because everybody gets asked the same questions. Everybody talks about what they want to talk about.
There's also no pay, so they don't have to worry about making money.
Yeah,
and valet parking. We'll give you valet parking.
We're issuing a live challenge right now because we don't think this Jack Schiffel guy is going to show up. I mean,
I hope he does.
I hope he does too.
Because I think people should hear what he has to say.
He was a delegate to the DNC.
You know, he represents the party truly.
He presents himself as a tough guy. He's oatmeal. He's nothing. He's nothing. I mean, he says nothing. You know what? These people live this veneer. They live on a veneer, an ability to fool. Oh, we can go all over the place with this. Let's keep this show going for a couple more hours. We have found that the Democrat Party runs a franchise they're in the business of creating dependent people. Follow this, folks. The Democrat Party, if we were running it, hey, we got a business. We need people to depend on us. We'll find a way to get public treasury money to give to them so they thank us for the money they receive. They continually depend on us. If we can do that to a lot of people, like a union, or even a lot more people, like people who are not employed, and students and all of that.
And throw in some illegal immigrants.
Throw those guys. We may be able to run the country because all of us went to Harvard and Yale and Columbia. We know better than everybody else, and this is a wonderful world. Well, that's the Democrat Party. When you have people like Alan and me that kind of know what's going on, know the issues, and know how to argue the issues, these guys get knocked over like a paper bowling pin. Challenge to any Democrat out there, anywhere in the country. Come on. Do we want to fly them in? No, we're not going to do that because we'll get every whack job in the world. You guys make your way to South Florida between now and November 6th. We will debate any Democrat of any level, anywhere in the United States, preferably Florida because we're going to win Florida. Right here, we'll pay for the auditorium or whatever we got to put together for that. That's minimal. We'll live stream it and show a little brass, folks. Come on. And we'll take women, men, whatever, whatever. Men and women together.
How about men, women, not sure?
We'll take those. There's a few of those in that party.
How about Ted Deutsch or Debbie Wasserman
Schultz?
No,
those guys, no.
No, they won't do it.
We are not going to debate them. I'm using reverse psychology.
Oh, okay.
We are not ever going to debate them. Reverse psychology.
They're too tough.
Okay? They're too tough. Reverse psychology.
Yes.
Maybe she's going, I'll get those guys.
I'm Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
I'm Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I'm Bob Baghdad, In any event. It was an interesting evening, and sadly...
Can I make a point?
Sure, yeah.
When you look at the audience, the first thing you do when you're a participant, you look down at the audience from the stage, and you say, how many of my supporters do I have in that audience? Last night, I think, of all of the people there were maybe 5 or 6 Democrats, and this was the heart of the Democrat country. This was in Jack
This is
Schiffrell's
Debbie Wasserman Schultz's area, right? Exactly.
This is Jack Schiffrell's neighborhood, Fort Lauderdale. And they could not get people there to support them. That is very, I felt a little embarrassed, when our side was clapping and applauding, not shouting and yelling, clapping and applauding. The other side was silent. this is the weakness they have, and this is why Florida is going to go
No, it
Republican.
just shows the closed-mindedness. We've already made up our minds. We don't need to hear what you have to say. We know what we're going to do, and nothing you could ever do or say is going to change our minds.
That's
and,
that dependent.
And that's,
Yep.
and that's what it is. We already have been told what to do, and that's what we're doing, and that's it.
They couldn't even show up to show. It's the Chicago Cubs haven't won a pennant in what?
Well,
80
that's
years.
because they know
It's a
that
full-
the
it's a full house.
people. That's because they know that the people who support you are going to be respectful to everybody, and that they don't have to come and show support for the people who are on their side, because the people who are there listening who aren't on their side are still going to be respectful and be polite and clap
True.
anyway.
True.
It's an interesting
Because
theme.
they have manners.
It's an interesting theme to develop with this financial dependency that runs the Democrat franchise. There's also an intellectual dependency. You know, if I'm getting my money from here, you don't have to think about how to get your money. If a check just appears in your checking account every week, there's an intellectual disconnect, and then you just listen to these people. So Jack Schiffrell gets up there and just says anything, and they go, yeah, the bobbling heads. Well, let's go to Irma, because I think Irma was one of the ladies
great.
that was there last night. Hello, Irma. How are you?
I'm fine, Tom. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the show. And I think you were involved in organizing. You did. Let's give Irma a hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Hooray!
Yay. We got you for a couple of minutes here. What are your thoughts about last night?
Well, I was totally amazed when Barry broke out in song, but
Oh, yeah, singing rabbi.
And his
I just got off the phone
baritone.
with Jack Schiffrell. I didn't get the idea he wasn't going to come on the 19th, so I don't know where you got that one from. It was a different atmosphere last night because I have never seen a room predominantly Republican giving it to the Democratic debaters. It's always been the reverse. I had a lovely time.
Can I challenge you, Irma? I don't believe that it was totally Republican. It was anti-Obama.
Probably.
Yeah.
There were people in there who were Democrats.
Yeah.
They spoke to me later. They were Democrats, and they're not voting for Obama. So it was
Yeah.
not just a Republican turnout.
Yeah.
Okay, it was. Their hearts were with all of us.
Yeah,
And,
with
it was it felt different.
It was a
felt
pro-America,
comfortable.
pro-Israel group is what it
It
was,
was.
and it crossed party lines.
Right,
Yeah.
and thank you very much for handing that mic for me.
You bet. Anytime.
Okay,
all right. Thank you, Irma. Good.
Thank you
Irma,
so
thank
much.
you.
It was
Thank
lovely
you.
to
Thank
meet you,
you, Irma.
Irma.
a pleasure.
We'll see you in a
I'll
week.
see you on the 19th, guys.
You got
Okay.
it.
Stay well.
Bye.
All right, let me read this for you guys here. This is from the Washington Times today.
Are we going to the?
Yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Yeah. The teas for tomorrow.
There you go. This is all.
Yeah. Oh, Al-Zawahiri. We're just having too much fun here dealing with these
Yeah,
Democrats.
but we have to say something about what's happening too
Yeah.
today. Yeah.
Well, we got tomorrow.
just,
we got
okay.
tomorrow. This is a 3-part show. Bring the audience
Okay.
back. Let them get addicted to our sparkling
Addicted
personalities.
to the truth.
Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, and those of you out there watching. The Israeli government on Wednesday. The Israeli government on Wednesday. When was Wednesday? Yesterday. Yesterday, the Israeli government. Yesterday, some schmuck in Israel? No. The Israeli government officially yesterday said, actually accused. The Israeli government yesterday accused the White House of fill in the blank. Starts with an L.
Lying.
Lying. The Israeli government on Wednesday accused the White House of lying.
How?
Just that statement alone.
Oh, okay.
The Israeli government on Wednesday accused the White House of lying by denying that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had requested to meet U.S. President Barack Obama later this month in the U.S.
What?
So.
Say this.
they
Wait a
are
minute.
lying
Say
that
this
they
again.
Requested a meeting.
The Israeli government accused the White House of lying by denying, the White House denied that Benjamin Netanyahu called up the White House. The story was Netanyahu called Obama and said, I want to meet with you. I'm coming to the General Assembly in Manhattan. I want to meet with you. And the White House said, that call never happened. And now the Israeli government said the White House is lying by denying, double negatives, by denying that Benjamin Netanyahu requested.
So how come I understood yesterday that the White House said that Barack Obama could not meet with him because he had prior commitments? How could
he had a campaign.
So how could he respond to a phone call that never happened?
The accusation will likely serve to further escalate diplomatic tensions between the two countries, which have ramped up in recent days. We requested, the Israelis, a meeting on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York, and also suggested that the Prime Minister could come to Washington for a meeting, a senior government official in Jerusalem told the German DPA news agency on Wednesday. So, folks, we have a developing crisis in the Middle East. We're going to continue on tomorrow's show to go into more details. And this crisis is supposedly stimulated by this goofy Muslim movie. I want to show you a little 1-minute clip here, and listen carefully. Go to the not the movie, the CNN report, the news clip with the lady. I'll set this up, and we're teasing you for tomorrow. You don't have it? Okay, I'll just tell you about it. On this Muslim movie, Innocence of Muslims, or whatever the name. Turns out that this whole thing is really bizarre, but a very fascinating story and a critically important story in light of the global issues that are transponding here. And tomorrow we will have Skyped in on our show from California the consultant to the filmmakers, and he was a spokesperson for the film. He has been located. He's been doing a lot of media, and we were able to get him on tomorrow's show. So we'll have a gentleman by the name of Steve Klein on, who has some association, or did, with this movie. So we'll understand the movie, the importance of it. Then we'll go into the situation on the ground, and you got to watch it very, very carefully, because as I said, it's almost 3 o'clock here, about 9, 10 o'clock in Egypt, in about 6 or 7 hours, about 12 hours. All hell will be breaking loose all over the Middle East as the Muslims go to Friday afternoon prayer, which is about 1 o'clock local time, their time. Then they come out all amped up, and we'll see if anything happens, because President Mohammed Morsi, who will be arriving on the 23rd of Sunday in New York for a meeting at the General Assembly, he has called for actually the Brotherhood. Morsi is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. He's given his card in, but you're never. It's like that other thing, that La Cosa Nostra thing. You're never out. The Brotherhood has called for peaceful demonstrations tomorrow after Jumu'ah prayer in Egypt. That's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. We'll also tell you tomorrow about the very sad situation that hasn't been reported, just starting to break now, about the other people that were killed, along with Christopher Stevens and Sean Smith, one of whom is a Navy SEAL, former Navy SEAL, who was a private contractor. He was killed in the Libya situation. We'll go into the Libya attack, planned attack. This had nothing to do with the movie.
Nothing to do with it.
The movie was what's called pretext. This was a planned 9/11 attack, and our damn government can't get this straight for some reason.
I don't know why we have to apologize. Yeah, I don't know why we have to apologize for cartoons, for videos, for people touching the Quran. That is not a justification for any of the violence happening anywhere in the world. For anybody even to say they did it because they're hurt by the Quran, by a video, by a cartoon, I don't care why they did it. They killed people, they threatened people, and that's all I need to know. I don't want to know why, and I don't care. They did it, that's it.
In addition, CJ, I agree with you, but I want to know, where was our intelligence? Where is our vaunted intelligence service? How come we didn't know that on 9/11 something was going to happen, not in Brazil or in Peru or Chile, but in Africa, in this volatile region? How come we did not get reports from the Libyan intelligence, from the Egyptian intelligence, To me, that was not an omission, but
how do you not arm your Marines on 9/11? That's what I want to know.
I got to wrap it up, guys. Thank you both. Can you come back tomorrow?
Yeah.
Conclude
yeah,
both
please.
of you? Okay, and we'll wrap up our
I have open
three-part
heart
series.
surgery tomorrow, but I'll postpone
But
it.
can you put it off? Thank you.
Great. We appreciate that. And tomorrow we want to ask the question: how a command, folks, you got to keep your eyes on the prize. Okay, eyes on the prize. Everybody listening and watching. Eyes on the prize simply means November 6th, this country has to pick someone who will lead us through this minefield in the Middle East. And that person better have very good relations with the country of Israel and the Prime Minister of Israel. And so far, there's only one contender that has good relations, and the American relations are going to get worse. And when our ambassador to Libya gets killed, and our president comes out and makes a perfunctory speech about how horrible it is, and then he gets on a jet and flies to Las Vegas for a fundraiser, there's something fundamentally wrong with that individual when campaigning took precedent over the crisis that's burning in the Middle East right now, and it's going to be burning in the United States of America. Stay tuned tomorrow as we hit these issues head on. Tom Trento with our great team right here. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Your host, Tom Trento, is an activist street fighter with earned degrees in law enforcement, theology, and philosophy. To reach Tom, call 561-319-5533, 561-319-5533, or email him at tom@trentovision.com. Tune in again weekdays at 2 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
If you would like quality diamonds at exceptional prices, then come to Tom Tutman's Diamond Mine. If you would like sparkling 2-carat Marquise cuts for only $49, then come to Tom Tutman.